Hello and welcome to Confessionals and Congressionals. What?
Nothing. I'm listening.
Hello and welcome to Confessionals and Congressionals. My name's Lauren,
I'm Cassie.
and this is a pop culture and current events and reality TV recap podcast. Today we're talking about Sheena's memoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we listened to it so you don't have to, and it is important to say that we listened because Sheena does narrate it.
Yeah. I don't think I would have been able to get through this book if I hadn't been able to just like listen while I did the dishes.
Yeah, I listened when we were on our trip, as you know, and even your husband was like, I'll listen to anything but this.
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah.
He even listened to like Kelley Wolf's Instagram live. Like he would do that before he would listen to the memoir.
Yeah, he's a patient man, but he's not that patient.
Exactly. So we've got
Yeah.
Sheena's memoir. We've got some pop culture headlines, a little bit of Kelley Wolf.
Yeah. Speaking of Kelley Wolf, she went on live about an hour ago and I watched at least the last half. I didn't realize how long she'd been on live already, but I was just scrolling Instagram and I saw she was live and I was like, ooh, my first time catching a live. So, yeah, she's mentally unwell. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Sorry to look so delighted.
I know. I know. Yeah. And then when we come back this weekend, we'll have the challenge, episode 2. And now I've went back and watched episode 0. So we'll also talk about that this weekend and kind of get a better understanding of what happened in episode 1.
Great. I can't wait. Yeah, I need to watch episode 0 as well before we kick that off. So, yeah, we got some good stuff to get into today. Thanks for listening. If you are here and this is your first time, or if you like this podcast, please leave a review or a comment or follow us or subscribe, whatever you're listening or watching on. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on social media, and we are just two moms. We are friends, we're sisters in law, and we make this podcast for fun. We would love to know if people are listening and what you guys think. So please let us know.
Yes. Join us. Come on.
Okay, so without further ado, have you seen the TikToks about where people are using like the first 10 seconds of Sheena's memoir and then doing like reactions to it?
I've seen where it's like people laughing over her saying that she's always been a leader, never a
Yeah.
follower. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of those clips and then like them laughing or like looking shocked.
Like, girl, are we living in a different reality?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. This is how the book starts, everyone. But you can listen on Spotify, Audible, I'm sure, wherever you listen.
And if you have Spotify Premium, like we do, because all of my kids have Spotify as well. And so we have like the premium, I think it's like $10 a month or something. And you get 10 hours of audiobooks a month for free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that will include her entire memoir.
Oh, shoot. I had to
Yeah.
buy it. Dang. All right. I'm going to have to pick out another book to listen to then.
Yep.
All right. So just so everyone knows, this is the clip that everybody is going wild over.
If there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I've never been a follower. I've always been my own person and someone who forges her own path. But I'm also a natural people pleaser, and there have been times in my life when I've felt pressure to fit in order to survive.
So, yeah, everybody's laughing because, first of all, those two things contradict each other
Yeah.
in and of themselves. That was my first thought when I heard that first line. I was like, those are two different things. You either are a people pleaser who follows, or you aren't a follower and you're independent. So, like, right off the bat, I was just thinking, like, she's heard all the feedback of what people think about her. She's read the comments. She is understanding that people perceive her, including her friends. That's part of the reason why this narrative is out here. They perceive her as someone that goes along with whatever will benefit her at the time and doesn't really pick a side, doesn't really like have a ton of integrity when it comes to what's going on. She's very like movable and influenced by people's opinions. And so, yeah, my first thought was just like, oh, Sheena, you are just trying to change the narrative about you with this book, which is in and of itself not something that somebody who is independent and individualistic would feel the need to do.
Yeah, I also think like she doesn't know the difference between being a people pleaser and being needy. And I think they're different.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Yeah, like I think, you can be a people pleaser and it not necessarily come from this like desperation place. And for her, like I see it more as like desperation for people to like you. Whereas like I can be a people pleaser. I really don't care if you like me. I just don't like conflict. Like I just don't like I just want things to be okay. Whereas for her it's like this desperate need for you to think that I'm great, that I'm,
Mhm.
like it comes from a different internal place.
Yeah, that's an interesting distinction to make. Yeah, I can see that difference. For
Yeah.
her, it does. It definitely feels frantic, and it's always like no, she's determined to not be misunderstood, if you can think about it that way. And it's like, just let people misunderstand you, girl. Like, just be yourself. People misunderstand you, then that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if she owned more of the mistakes that she made in an authentic way, like there was a lot where she like spent time trying to talk about the season where she does look boy crazy. I don't remember if that was like 8 but that season where she
With
looks,
Brett and
yeah, yeah.
what's his face, and
Max.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like you would come off better if you were like, I was desperate that season. I was coming off the divorce. I was scared I was going to be alone. I was very much like in an unhealthy place with the attention and validation that I needed from men. And instead, she's just doubles down with like, it was edited that way. They were saying this to me. They were saying that instead of just like, that is, if you want to like really resonate with people, you have to be honest in ways that are scary. And it didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I think she like genuinely lacks the self-awareness.
I agree.
Yeah. And it's funny because, yeah, part of this book, she's trying to explain away the boy craziness. Like, she's like, I'm not boy crazy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the majority of this book is you talking about all the men you've slept with that are famous.
Yeah.
Like, that's the majority of the book. So I don't know what you want people to take away from that.
Yeah. And again, it's interesting because it's like, had there been more reflection on, because I don't hate Sheena. I really don't. Like she doesn't annoy me as much as I think she annoys the general Reddit forums or you. I think
But I
that
do think she doesn't have bad intentions. She's not like
no,
evil or something. She's just annoying to me. But yeah,
no.
keep going.
Yeah, I think it's that lack of self-awareness because she could reflect and it could be understandable to talk about regardless of how great her stepdad was, because we find out, that her biological dad was not in the picture. Her stepdad sounds like was a great guy, was a great father for her, but she could lean into, maybe there is a part of me that has sought that validation from men or like been desperate for people to like me because subconsciously I have always struggled with understanding how my biological dad was fine walking away. And that like I don't know, there's a way that you could like go deeper with it and be more raw that I think people would have not made fun of it the way that they are.
I think so too. And actually, when you said like go deeper with it, it reminds me of one of my notes, which is that overall, I just think like Sheena actually just isn't that deep.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
She's just pretty shallow.
Yeah.
It's about looks and perception. And, like she talked about, even when she was talking about like her marriages, she talked about how it's like they looked perfect. Like they were, you know, it's just about like the perception and the physical look of people. That's all she talks about.
Yeah, I mean, even when she's talking about like her first wedding and she's talking about like how everything went wrong that day, like nothing went wrong that day. They were the most minute little things. Like I was supposed to come out right when this lyric hit, right? And it's just like, wow, the fact that you think that means everything went wrong, it just shows how much that perception and the way things look matter.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's, I think, maybe like our broad strokes takeaways. Should we go through the different kind of eras of her life and start with when she was young?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how she walks through. So she starts with when she was young and she talks about how, this is right off the heels of her talking about how she's always been independent and an individual thinker. And then she's like, so I went to school for the first day and I can't remember what grade. She talks about how she got bullied, which I guess I have to take her for her word, and that she told her mom, like, no, I don't want you to buy me things. I know that we're strapped for cash. Like, you don't have to buy me all the stuff. I'll just go, like, I'm independent. I'm my own thing. And then she got bullied when she went to school. And so she came home and she was like, okay, never mind. I don't care. I want you to buy me the popular shoes. I want you to buy me the popular outfit. I want to get the popular, like, everything, backpack, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that is Sheena.
Yes. Yes. And there is nothing independent about that. Like that's a great opportunity again to go deeper and be like, that's probably the beginning of me starting to be a follower and feeling like I have to do all the things to fit in. Like that's your
Yeah,
moment, Sheena.
yeah, like she doesn't realize that isn't being an independent thinker. It's so funny.
Right.
The lack of awareness. The whole time I'm thinking this. Like you can't convince me that she's self-aware.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, she talked about kind of her younger school years and she talked about her parents. Maybe you made notes about her dad and stuff. I didn't take notes about that.
Yeah, she talked about how it sounds like her mom and her stepdad were dating for a little bit and then they split briefly. And that's when mom met her biological dad and got pregnant with Sheena. And then they got back together, the now stepdad, right? And so the stepdad and mom decided to raise her as, he took her as his own, but it was always known that she had a different biological dad. He did meet her when she was like 2, the biological dad did. And it sounds like now she has a relationship with him and some of her half siblings. But that's who raised her, was her stepdad and her mom. And it sounds like there was a little bit of a struggle for her which I understand, when her stepdad and her mom ended up having another daughter, her sister. And that felt like it was the first time for her where she really became aware of the fact that, like, I'm not your biological daughter. Like, started to just, but again, she doesn't go deep enough with it. She's so surfacey about it, where
She's basically like, he didn't look like me.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have the same hair color as me. He doesn't have the same
Well, and she said like, did I feel differently not being the biological daughter? Probably. And that's as far as she goes.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of like exploring that and whether you felt some way about it or you didn't, and I almost want, because she's writing everything with the benefit of hindsight.
Right.
And so there's a part of me that wonders if one of the reasons that she does, again, you're right, she has no depth. So I doubt that this is true. But I did wonder, like, because the narrative she has around Brock and his previous kids, and like they're being raised by their stepdad, and she has so much respect for that because of her own childhood. If she were to get into, yeah, it made me mad that my biological dad walked out, or I did struggle with that. Well, then you have to face that Brock's kids could be suffering as well. You know what I mean? But again, that is me assuming there is that's what I would be thinking. Right? But you're right. She might not.
No, I don't think she is. No, I don't think she is. She also talks about how she brings up again, we saw this in Vanderpump, how she looks like Britney Spears and how she got mistaken for Britney Spears a lot. And I'm like, girly.
That has never happened. That has never, ever happened.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
No.
Wild.
And I think she mentioned other celebrities too that she gets confused as, like the Delusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty early into the book, we get our first John Mayer name drop.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And I don't even really want to talk about it. It's incredibly cringe. He obviously does not want to talk about it. He, I think, has publicly denied that they slept together. I just think it's like, as she was talking about each of these different hookups that she's had with these different celebrities, I'm like, is this appropriate? And I think that Scheana just thinks about, for whether it's good or bad, like she knows what people want to hear. She knows what will get her attention.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just going to be honest and say that, like, when I see people attacking that on Reddit or whatever, I am like, come on, be honest. Like, if that is your claim to fame, as these celebrities, who's not? If I had hooked up with, you know, Brad Pitt, I'm telling everyone.
I'm so interested that you just said Brad Pitt, because we're going to talk about him later when we get to Kelley Wolf.
I know. That's probably why it's on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I guess, like, I don't think I would do that.
Well, I thought that it was okay to bring up Jesse Metcalf, because that was more like a little bit of a relationship, not a full-blown one, but there was obviously a situationship that lasted more than a night.
Yeah.
So I think that was okay. But I agree. Like, when it comes to, like, you could have just said you had a threesome. You didn't have to tell us his name.
Yeah, but she loves to. She delights in it.
Yes. Well, because I think it's like, again, it's her need for validation. And so it's like, I'm the kind of person that John Mayer would want.
Totally.
And I need you to know that, you know?
Yeah, I feel like she has like this toxic main character energy where she feels like she's the center and everybody else is like all the stories like she's the center of, but it's like in a toxic way, not in a good way. It's like,
yeah.
Girl, nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you.
Yeah.
She tells a lot of personal details, though, about a lot of different relationships that I'm like, do you have permission to talk about how people were married when you were seeing them, for instance? Or that, like the number of men, if not all of them, that she's dated that were dating other people and she didn't know about it, or she pretends like she didn't care when really she did. I was like, pretty much everyone she's ever dated was seeing somebody else. And I wrote, except maybe Shay. And then later she talks about how even Shay was seeing other people. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, it's not a self-published book. And so because of that, because it's on a major publishing house, there is a good chance that a lot of the people were given edits to make sure that they are approving of it, or there's nothing in there that's like too damaging, right? Because you have to be careful when it comes to slander. A lot of the times the bigger publishing houses, they're going to have people that are like, all right, has this person seen this?
Yeah.
Are they okay with how they're depicted here? Not always. And I don't know, like, when it comes to public figures, exactly what those rules are, because I would imagine John Mayer would be like, absolutely not. However, she's already said it on Vanderpump. So
yeah,
maybe in that context, it's fine. And she could have changed the name of, like, when she brings up the one boyfriend that is not alive anymore. Right. She probably like changed the name there. And I think like that's another like problem with the book is the fact that she narrates it. You just like, it just feels overacted.
Yeah. Give the example that you gave me when you were listening and you were like,
it was just over the top the way it was said, you know, because it was like she was talking about that relationship and that guy. And then she says, and then we hung up. And the next day, he committed suicide. And it's just like, unless that's how you would say it when you're talking to someone face to face, that's not how you should be reading it.
Yeah, I mean, it might be how she would say it because, again, I just don't think she realizes how she comes off.
It's just, it's overacted.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was like, yikes, that was a pretty flippant way to say that.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, you made it about you.
Let's talk about any of the other hookups that you took notes about. I just cringed my way through them until we got to the Shay part.
Will you mark real quick? I'm just pulling up my notes. Okay. So did she, and I'm not sure if I misheard, but did she bring up Sheena Moore?
I don't know who that is. So if she brought him up, then I didn't recognize the name.
I need to look and find out because I wrote it down and I'm like, there is no way. Like he's a very good looking guy, but I think he is quite a bit older than her.
Who is that? Sheena Moore.
He is an actor that he was on a show called Criminal Minds.
Oh, yeah, I know that show.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Scheana Shays of Vanderpump Rules revealed in her recent book that she had a romantic relationship with actor Sheena Moore. She even named him as her best celebrity hookup.
God, Sheena.
Sheena Moore does strike me as someone who keeps his private life very private. So I remember I think that's why I wrote it down, because I was just like, I don't think he would like that, because he does seem like he's very, there's a distinct line between the art that he puts out and like his life.
Yeah.
Now, of everybody she named, I think he is the absolute hottest.
Okay, I'm going to have to look up a picture.
Yeah.
We'll put a picture on the screen if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, he is, in my opinion, a very good-looking man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have to tell you something so funny. Did you read Fourth Wing?
I never finished it.
Okay, but you know Xaden character.
Yes.
So I was talking to my aunt, who is, my aunt. She's like in her 80s. And she said that she read those books. You're never going to guess what celebrity she pictured as Xaden.
Who?
She said she pictures, and she said this like as if it was hot. She said she pictured a young Jack Black.
What?
And this is who I picture.
Yeah.
When I see this man, I'm like, this is Xaden. Whoever this man is should be cast as Xaden.
Yes. Maybe she meant somebody else.
No, I did, pry into that.
Okay, so because I'm just thinking
meant Jack Black.
Okay.
Sorry, Carrie. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh so hard, but I laughed to her face too. I was like that. She's like, I'm gonna tell you something, but it's gonna ruin it for you. And I was like, okay, tell me. And then that's what she said.
Yeah, you're like, no, that does not. Are we talking about a different book, a different character? What?
Yeah.
No. So
too funny.
That's Sheena Moore.
Yeah, he is hot.
He is really hot.
Yeah.
He's really hot.
Yeah. So when it comes to Shay, she digs into some of the details that we had never heard before. And this was a part of the book that I was really paying attention to for whatever reason. Maybe it's because we know him. So I just felt like I wanted to know every detail of what had happened, because she, from the perspective of the watcher, she outed his addiction on TV and then said on TV that she wanted to get a divorce, like apropos of nothing really except for the addiction. And so people had a lot of criticisms for her about how she handled that situation throughout the entire thing. The fact that she wanted him to drink and, don't get drunk, and like all these like complete like misunderstandings of how addiction works, and really not supporting him in the ways that he should have been supported. But it's not her job to fix him at all. But just, there were a lot of criticisms. And so to hear what had been going on kind of behind the scenes too was interesting. He had evidently been messaging with, she didn't have to say what kind of person it was, like, honestly, Sheena, but she did.
No. And honestly, I think that I would love to read Shay's book.
Yeah.
So if he wants to put pen to paper, like I would like it for no other reason than to see the sheer panic on Sheena's face if Shay decided to tell his side of the story.
Because you think it would be way different?
Yes.
Yeah. What do
Yes.
you think would be different?
I think that she, probably used with him. I think he would be able to give more insight into how needy and desperate she was for those girls to like her, and things that she might have said, kind of, not that she's like Jax Taylor and it's my show, but I bet there was a lot of times where she would bring up that the show didn't exist if not for her, like she's the tie-in, and I just bet that we would see more of, and also how she treated him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, she's so incredibly self-centered, and that's why I think that Brock is perfect for her because he feeds that for her. Shay was going through so much, and I remember the scenes where she would just be like, "I just need my husband to be here for me. I just need him to be here for me." And it's like, "Girl, come on."
yeah.
It really did. Like the world revolved around her, and the fact that he wasn't able to be supportive for her while he was going through addiction killed her because he needed somebody to be supportive of her, not because he was going through addiction. And yeah, it was just so hard to watch that. It was so hard to watch their marriage dissolve and watch how blindsided he seemed to be by everything on the show, and when she asked him to get divorced and stuff.
Yeah, and I even in the book, like, she kind of admits that the way that she portrayed it on the show, as far as like he's an addict and all that, really she was upset about the messaging he was doing. And instead, like, that's how she retaliated. And I think that's a really shitty thing to do.
A really self-centered, narcissistic thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, she basically admits that a lot of that, like the asking him for a divorce on camera and stuff, it was for the plot.
Right. Right.
So it doesn't make her look good. Like, I don't know, whatever she thought this book was going to do, it didn't make her look any better. I think I left the book liking her less than I started, and I didn't like her very much to begin with.
Yeah. No, I agree. And just going back to like the divorce also being like for the plot and all of that, like, let's not forget that Katie Maloney and Tom Schwartz split, and neither one of them called Bravo and was like, "Do you guys want to pick up cameras while we just were on break?" I think they purposely did it during that time, which shows you, again, it's more authentic, it's real. They know to have some boundaries, right? But Sheena had no problem exploiting his addiction and this narrative for screen time.
Yeah, and it actually reminds me of some of the stuff she talked about with Lisa and production, and like she clearly feels used by production and Lisa Vanderpump because she was easily manipulated, and she like blames it on them. And it's like, you don't have a backbone, so people manipulate you. That is not that that makes them good people or something, but like that's what producers do for reality TV. That is their job. Their job is to manipulate people to make good TV.
Yep.
So they can't be solely accountable for that. You have to also admit that you were easily manipulated and like change your behavior and like grow a backbone. But she doesn't do that. There's no accountability on her end. She just like thinks it's everybody else's problem. And she talks a lot of shit on Lisa Vanderpump and how Lisa Vanderpump used her to kick off the show and how she knew about the affair. Of course she knew about the affair. I didn't think that that was like a secret. What do you mean? Of course she knew about the affair. She knows everything. She's freaking Lisa Vanderpump.
Right. Well, and she definitely acted like she didn't,
Right, for this camera.
Right. But these are the same people that, when her husband came in that day and was like, "Can you believe that Tom Sandoval?" And I'm like, I don't think he even knows who any of these people are. Like, how many times did she have to practice that with him?
Yeah, no, he might as well have been reading off of a cue card.
100%. Like,
it wasn't even like a natural sentence the way it came out of his mouth.
Yes.
And was it Katie in the kitchen or Lala that was like, wait, what?
It was Katie.
Katie, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's, again, like a little bit delusional to think that you're the sole victim of this situation when you were also participating in exploiting people for reality TV. You have to take accountability for that.
Right. But again, it's a missed opportunity to be authentic because I
Totally.
don't think there's anything wrong with saying I felt like I built a real friendship with Lisa Vanderpump. And if that's my own naivety, like that's fine. But I thought it was real. And it feels like since the moment the show was canceled, I have not heard from her. And it makes me feel like it was all fake. That you can say that without trying to like pull and retell the history to make Lisa Vanderpump look bad.
Yeah.
Just, that's just as compelling.
Yeah. And I want to talk about one more thing in the memoir, and then I want to like wax philosophical about it.
Okay.
The last thing is she alludes to at the end, she talks about how she decided to stay with Brock throughout the affair, like after finding out about the affair.
Yeah.
And how when she told Michelle, she felt like Michelle gave her a look that indicated that Michelle had also been cheated on with Jesse. Do you remember that part? Yeah, she basically alludes to that, the idea that Michelle must have been cheated on by Jesse.
Okay.
And first of all, I hope she had permission to say that. And second of all, I don't think that she interpreted that look correctly. I'm pretty sure what Michelle was probably thinking was, I am the one that had committed infidelity in our relationship and Jesse stayed. So now I'm having some like feelings about what you're saying.
Yeah, that could definitely be it. It could also be that she had been cheated on at any time in the past.
Yeah, totally.
You
Yeah,
know
she
what I mean?
specifically said like Michelle and Jesse must have had infidelity.
Right.
Like he must have cheated on her.
Right.
I'm like, from everything we've seen, Michelle has never accused him of that.
Right.
It has only been the other way around.
Right.
And I think that everybody's probably assuming that she had some sort of emotional affair with Aaron. She has admitted to kissing somebody while she was with Jesse. Like she's the one that was sort of one foot out the door, exploring other things while they were still together. We don't know all the details of that, but just like it was a weird and interesting assumption to make and to say in your memoir
Yes.
about you.
Yes. And she, like, let's say that she really did feel that that was the look that was given. She didn't have to say Michelle's name.
Exactly.
She could say, I confided in a friend, and the look she gave me made me think that she'd been in my shoes before. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't. There were two parts of it that I actually related to in the book.
Okay, let's hear her.
Okay, the first one was when she said, I don't believe this part necessarily, but she said, when I found out about the affair, I didn't cry. I just felt sick to my stomach. And when I remember I was in a relationship, not with my husband, this was years ago. And I actually remember when I found out that he had cheated on me. And I literally ran to the bathroom and puked. Like I had never had that kind of physical reaction. I would have thought I would have started sobbing.
Yeah.
And instead I just like literally got sick. It was the weirdest thing because I never thought that was a thing.
Yeah. I know. I always think people are being very dramatic when they say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like maybe they're exaggerating or I don't know. Or like, I don't know. I've never felt that way. Or when people are like, I was so anxious I couldn't eat. But I get like that now. But before I was like, oh, nice problem to have, you know,
right,
toxic skinny culture.
Exactly. So I related to that and I was like, all right, so I'm not alone there. And then this actually started on the show. And then I thought about it again when I was reading the book. So years ago, when my daughter was like 2, I think I ended up having an argument with one of my best friends. We've since made up. We're good. But it had to do with she was going to watch my daughter for me while my husband and I went to, I think, like a theme park for the day or whatever. And I was having really bad anxiety about leaving her. And I think my friend got offended thinking it was maybe about her, like, because she was going to watch my daughter for me. And I was really struggling with leaving. And so I think my friend maybe thought it was like about my trust in her or something like that. And it ended up becoming a much bigger argument than it ever needed to be. And it took us a while to heal from that. And, I had tried to explain my own anxiety and it just didn't make sense to her. And so I'll never forget when we had already made up and she was watching Vanderpump and she called me and said, it wasn't until I saw Scheana Shay behave the way that she did about her daughter that I realized what you were talking about with like, you knowing it's not normal, but that you can't help that your brain does that, because it was something I struggled with almost as deeply as she did. And it's embarrassing. And you know that it's not rational. You totally know it's not rational, but your brain is just imagining. I mean, you saw just like, I feel like I have much better control of it today than I did. But even when we were on vacation and everybody assured me that Penny, my daughter, had come inside, but no one had everybody kept saying I think.
Yeah.
And I'm 15 feet away from the pool. And are we sure she's not on the bottom of the pool? My brain just does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and people can think you're being dramatic or just tell you to get over it or all those things. But when it's a real, I can feel myself getting emotional just thinking about it. Because when it's a real struggle that you don't have control over and you want to so badly, it's really, it can feel very, very lonely and you can feel very, very judged and angry at everybody telling you that you're being silly or just let it go. So I was a little bit grateful that Sheena shared that postpartum OCD and that fear, because it is real. I don't know if it's real for Sheena or not. I think it is based on,
I think so.
What I've seen. I don't think it makes her weak. I think it's just sometimes our brains are assholes.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention, she had recently found out about Brock's affair. So she also had reason to not trust him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she was just going through a lot. And I actually think that that's her best contribution to the pop culture arena, is talking about postpartum OCD, which I'd obviously heard of, but I'd never heard of a celebrity talk about.
I had never heard it named like that. And when she came out on Vanderpump and said it, then I started reading up on it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what I've been struggling with, where I just I never wanted to be away from her. It's just, and I would just have all of these intrusive thoughts and visions and, wake up and have to go wake her up to make sure. It was just, it's bad. It sucks.
Yeah.
I will give that to Sheena. I really appreciated that. And the only negative is that when she does come off as so inauthentic and so desperate for attention, then it almost is don't hurt the cause, man. I don't want people to think that you're just saying it for that.
Yeah. At least from my interpretation, I think people at least do believe her about that, because we did get to see such a vivid example of that on the show, of her just having a lot of anxiety, and we don't get to see her that raw very often. She's usually performing.
Yeah. And I still think that she's not she still has a lot of work to do over knowing how irrational it is. Because when she was talking about, when she's out of town in Brock's home and she sees that after their daughter has went to bed, that he's in the gym working out, the home gym, working out. And she's like,
Presumably
then,
with the baby monitor.
right. But she's like, but then you're not going to be paying attention to the monitor the whole time. And she's like, and I don't think that that's an unreasonable. And I'm like, well, okay, that's a problem that you don't think that's unreasonable, because what do you expect him to do? Sit in the living room and just stare at it?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, no, you still have some work to do, because you do need
Yeah.
to know that that is unreasonable.
Yeah. And I assume that nothing bad has actually happened too. Like she doesn't have, it's not like she's climbed out of the crib and fallen on the ground or something.
Well,
I
she
assume.
did. She fell off of a counter and broke her arm, or fell off the
Oh,
back of the couch.
yeah.
And that's when like Sheena was home and watching her, which I think
Right.
is, like that's what she was saying, was like, of course it happens when we're all there and we're all watching. Like, so all these fears you have about if somebody else is watching her or whatever, you realize like that's just it. Like you have to like step back and just, it is so hard to just accept that you don't have as much control as you want over like all that kind of stuff. You just
Yeah.
don't.
Okay, so that's Sheena's memoir.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I did want to wax philosophical about is, do you think that her publisher and the people who like edited and read this book before it came out knew how it would come off and knew that it was probably not going to make her look very good, and sort of rubbed their hands together with glee as it like shot out the door?
No, I don't think they thought about it or cared about it at all, because they knew that we're still close enough to the scandal of it all that it was going to be a bestseller, which it is. It's a New York Times bestseller.
Oh yeah, it is a New York Times bestseller. And I think part of that is because people want to see the cringe.
Yeah.
Like they want to see I listened not because I thought it was going to be an amazing memoir, but because she was going to spill all the tea with absolutely no boundaries whatsoever. And because it's Sheena, and like, what the fuck is she going to say now?
Well, and it's kind of like exactly what I said when we were talking about the memoir coming out. Obviously she teased all the things that are going to make you pick it up. Like we knew about the affair before the book came out. We knew that those things were going to be discussed in the book, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I said to you then, like, I just hope that the parts that we're reading aren't the juiciest parts and there's nothing else. And that's essentially what it was. Like there was nothing else. I'm like, all right, well.
No, she's told everything. Like you guys do not need to pick up the book. She's talked about everything in interviews at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't even need to read about the affair, because don't worry, that will be a major plot line of season 3 of The Valley. We're going to see them in therapy together. We're going to see them talking about like that. She's got herself season 3.
Yeah. Yeah. She solidified that for herself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, overall, this was a book to keep her relevant and to make people talk about her. She exposed a lot of other people's stories that were not hers to tell. And I just feel like she just doesn't have a ton of integrity, or doesn't realize how things come off. I'm not really sure which. I don't think it's out of malice. I think she's just not thinking that hard about things.
I think that's exactly right. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yep. So let's move on to a little segue before we talk about Kelley Wolf.
Okay.
My segue is, yesterday Brittany posted that she got her hair done, and we were talking about how amazing her color looks a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When her and Kristen were chatting, we were like, wow, Kristen's hair color looks amazing too. They both have amazing hair color. It's like the blonde, kind of like darker roots, gets blonder at the bottoms, like looks really good. The dark looks really good. It flatters their face, like their coloring and stuff. I was just like, I love their hair color right now. And it turns out they get their hair done by the same person.
Oh, wow.
And that same person also does Stassi's current color, which is amazing as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the Kelley Wolf Live.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes. Okay, so before we dive into Kelley Wolf, the only reason that we know as much as we do about this is social media,
Yes.
right? Like she cannot get off of Instagram.
No, she's obsessed with documenting her life. And in this live, she talked about how she doesn't want to be famous. And I'm like, girl, you are doing everything in your power to stay famous. What do you mean?
Yes. Well, and because I've been following her, like just like a hawk, I've been on Instagram way more than I've ever been before in my life. Okay. So before, like, I just want to ask you, and I'll explain why, but I'm just curious. Like, do you think that women sex workers or strippers, do you think that can be empowering, or is it only exploitative towards women?
I think that that's a question that I'm not totally prepared to answer because I've never talked to a sex worker before, and I would have to like hear it from them. I don't have enough information. I think that for sure it can be exploitative. I think for sure people are trafficked or have no other option or are put into situations where they think that they're empowered but really they're being used. That certainly happens. Those people are victims. I don't know about the industry as a whole. I do not think it should be criminal. I do not think people should like get in trouble for doing it. I have a hard time imagining how it could be empowering, but I don't know everything.
Okay, so I have no idea how this showed up in my algorithm because I promise I'm not like I'm not searching for it.
Well, you've been looking for like maybe new jobs. So is that what's going on?
Maybe. I'm guessing it's because she likes Vanderpump Rules and she's like new to the show. She's watching it, so maybe that's it. But there is an Instagram influencer. She goes by Charm Days, and she's at C Get Snaky. So we'll link her. But so I end up like seeing one of her videos and she's a stripper, and I then like go visit her page. I probably spent 2 hours watching her videos.
Okay.
And she's got like 500,000 followers. I absolutely love her. She's been stripping for like 7 years. She's queer. She lives with a woman. Yep, that's her. She lives with a woman, and she talks about how, like, when she first graduated from high school, her plan was to go to college. And she's like, I kind of think it's crazy that we think we know what we want to do at 18. And, like, I think it takes time. And so she's been doing this 7 years. She has like a planner that her and her friends came out with for strippers.
Okay.
Where they like keep track of how many hours they worked this day, how much money they brought in, how many back room dances did they do, like all this stuff. And so anyway, she just bought her first house with the money that she's made. She talks about like the first 2 years that she danced, she did like just go buy all the things, and then realized like, I need to get smart about this. A bad night for her is probably like 600. A good night is closer to 2,000 a night. All right. And so she has put herself
I'm
in
switching jobs.
I know. I'm like, am I too old and big? Because I'll go do this. Like, what is happening?
There's something for everyone.
I'm telling you. And like, so I mean, what she's done is like, now she's bought her first house with this money. She is coming up with a plan for how much she needs saved because she's going to go back to college now. She's had enough time to think about what she really wants to do. And she seems totally unbothered by, like, you don't get that vibe at all from her.
Yeah.
She just seems very empowered by it.
Yeah.
And like, if these men are dumb enough to like pay $500 for me to rub my feet on them, like, what do I care? She doesn't like, she very rarely shaves her armpits. Like now and then she does, right?
Wait,
but
I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah. So, and she said what's so interesting to her is that the negative comments she gets about her armpit hair are from other women. But that a lot of the men are like obsessed with it that come into the club. And she's like, whatever. They're like huffing my armpits while they give me money. Like they like it. I just She completely changed my perception. And she like really focuses on trying to give advice to dancers about like, how to play the game. Like when you're, make sure you use his name a lot. That's like a psychological sales tip, really, like, using their name while you're dancing and being smart about your money. And she doesn't drink. She doesn't use drugs. It seems like she's seen what the consequences of that can be for people. So that I love her.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't give trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, yeah, I think that's so interesting. I can't wait to look at her page, and I feel like it'll open my eyes too because well, she's so cute. And I also wonder if being queer has something to do with it because I don't know. I don't know if I know how to put this into words, but I wonder if there's just a different feeling you have when you don't want men.
I actually said that to my husband this morning. I was like, do you think, and same thing, I couldn't quite articulate it, but I'm just like, when you are already not attracted to men and not, and like, you already think they're all, ugh.
Like literally dogs.
Yeah.
Like if you think of them as lesser than you think of them as dumb, you think of them as like they're not in power, they're not in charge.
Right.
I'm in charge. This is how I take the I think that that's actually really interesting.
Yes. Yes. And her partner, they've been together for years. They met at the club because her partner's a dancer too.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get your
So
bag.
I know. You have to go watch. I really like her. I think everybody should go subscribe to her channel. But yeah, I know like she's funny because sometimes she'll say like, I really just want to like watch Vanderpump tonight and not go to work. Or she'll just have these little quips where she's like, why does everybody gaslight Stassi in season 8? What is going on? Like,
So
yeah.
she does talk about VPR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Love that.
So we will
I
put
actually
her.
think I have seen a
Go ahead.
I think I have seen a different sex worker or dancer. Like, and to me also like dancing is different than sex work in terms of I don't know, they're just different categories of work in my opinion. And
Well,
I might be wrong. I'm not super educated on this topic, so I don't want to like say something that's ignorant.
Yeah.
So if I did, I'm sorry, and like please feel free to educate me if you're listening to this. But
she does do a boyfriend experience, but she only does it virtually. I'm not kidding. These men pay her to like text them all day, acting like she's their girlfriend. Like, how are you? What are you
Oh my
doing? Yeah. What are we doing with our lives, Lauren?
I actually love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went on a deep dive on her page and I just loved it. I really like her.
Wow, I love it. Also, yeah, it looks like she does lesbian, specifically like lesbian content with her girlfriend, maybe.
Yes. Yes.
So that's great. I love that for her. Okay, well, thanks for sharing.
So I saw that when I went on Instagram to look at Kelley Wolf's. So let's continue with that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So Kelley Wolf went on Instagram Live today, and I think I caught the last half. She started by dispensing some dating advice. Would you like to hear?
Okay. What?
She, as we've talked about before, it was a flight of thoughts sort of situation. So it was a lot of like bouncing around, but the main topics were dating alpha men and alpha women and plant medicines that she takes to cure her or something and things like that. So she does take, by the way, psychedelics.
Did she say that? Currently,
Yes.
she does. Okay, because
So-
I made you watch another one live that she made like a week ago.
Yeah.
Remember where she did mention, and she seemed very aware that they could spark psychotic
she talked
episodes.
about in another live, and in this live too, she talked a lot about how psychedelic medicine or like plant medicine can bring on a psychosis or a like psychotic break and things like that, which I had understood to be true as well. So I've heard that before, and I think that that's the understanding that if you have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, other like psychotic disorders in your family, a few degrees separated even. Like, you should probably stay clear of those things.
Yep.
And she must not have somebody in her family that she knows of, because it's like it's sort of the irony of, like, she's very aware that that can happen, and she's currently in psychosis.
Right, right.
So it's like, it's interesting to watch, right? Because she's aware that that can happen to somebody, and she's delusional and not well.
So did she say what kind of psychedelics she's taking? Okay, tell me.
Yeah. So she said, she was like, I'm not going to say it here, but I'll like DM me if you're interested. And then she just went ahead and said it. So
Oh
she
my
was like,
God.
it's called Stammet Stack, and it's a psychedelic microdose. So it's psychedelic mushrooms microdose. She mentions multiple times that you should not do it if you have psychosis in your family. She said that the number one thing she hears from people, and then she just sort of jumped to a new topic. But she had been talking about how it had healed something. Like, she pointed to her chest. She must have had like a rash, or I'm not really sure, but she was like, you guys have been asking about this, and it's healed thanks to, I'll tell you in the DMs if you DM me, but you know what? I'll just say it. And then she says it. And I looked it up, and it's a microdose of psychedelic mushrooms. So that's interesting.
I thought like microdoses, you're not even like, it's supposed to, you don't even notice.
Yeah. Like, it shouldn't be enough that she's tripping.
But you could like take 5 of them, I guess, right?
You could. I don't think she's like currently hallucinating. I don't think she's currently like high. I think that she's microdosing. She's probably also taken big doses before. Like, she looks like she's done some retreats and stuff like that. And those are mega doses. We are going to go into potentially a dissociative state. Like, you are hopefully being watched by safe people and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's like, she has done those things, and she's also currently microdosing. Yeah, you can't feel it, but that doesn't mean it's not it is affecting your brain.
I see. I always thought like microdosing was like totally safe. Now I'm scared of that too.
Yeah. Well,
because it's terrifying what's happening to her. It's really sad. It's like she is.
Yeah.
It is. It's so out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
And it just really makes me sad and scared. Like, I worry, like, are you going to be homeless and not see your kids? Like, because I think it's, and I could be wrong, this could just be my perception. It's just that I haven't seen a lot of examples of someone that gets to this state and gets better.
Yeah.
And that scares me.
Yeah, for sure. I am also scared for her. And I think that if it comforts you at all, now this is never going to happen to you. Okay. So just, you've got people that are never going to abandon you.
Yeah.
But if it comforts you at all, I think that the delusion that she lives in keeps her happy.
Yeah. Well, again, my pity is not for her.
Right.
It's for her kids. Yeah. Especially if she was a good mom.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's almost harder and worse.
Yep.
If you've had like a good relationship and now what?
Yeah, I don't know what is going on, right? Like, I don't know if this was brought on by doing psychedelics. I don't know if this was happening before that, and then she felt inspired to do psychedelics. Maybe she felt spoken to by somebody.
Yeah.
Who knows? We may never know, because there's so much delusion in her stories that you don't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is really interesting to watch somebody in current psychosis. You don't get to see that every day. So yeah, she's talking about how before that, she's talking about dating and how she's lonely. How long have they been separated?
Okay, so they announced their separation in April, but she is saying that they've been separated really since, she said, again, we're going off of what she says, so it's so hard. She said that she asked him for a divorce a year ago. And then another time she said they were separated in January. And so it's really hard to know. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they both announced it in April.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she's talking like she's been single forever, but she says that people ask her all the time how she gets men, which I don't know if I believe that. And then she said that she goes to a bar and she sits and she watches. And she talked about how that is alpha female behavior, is to just sit and be relaxed and watch. She talked a lot about alpha female behavior and alpha male behavior and how it's calm, and alpha men like calm women, and that you have to like just sit and watch and like make eye contact with them from across the bar and then look away. And she's like talking about her whole strategy. She almost back to back from that says that when people meet her, the most common thing they say is that she's scary.
Well,
I'm scared of you. Who are you? What's going on? Those are the phrases that people use when they meet her. And she says it's just because they're beta males. And that she goes on to say that she's only met, and then she thinks for a minute. She's like, I don't know, like 15 alpha males in the whole world that she's ever met. And she says that Brad Pitt is one of them. She hasn't met him, I don't think, but she says that he's an alpha male.
She has been obsessed with Brad Pitt since the beginning of the psychosis started. She has repeatedly, she thinks, tagged him, but she's actually tagging a fan account of Brad Pitt. She has referenced like wanting him to call her, thinking they should be together. That has been going on, since this started, a month or two ago.
Yeah, well, that continues. She says that she has a friend who knows him, who was going to give him her number, and that if they would have met, she's like, we probably lived in New York City at the same time. And if we wouldn't have been with other people, I think we would have ended up together. She talks about how she's a psychology expert, and some people think she's a world like class psychology expert. And she said some people say. She said that she talked a lot about the beta male, beta female thing. She said that she talks about the microdosing. She doesn't say microdosing. I just looked it up. She talks about the Stammet sack, which is the microdosing. She mentions about the psychosis that people can have and how you shouldn't take it if you have like she does the disclaimer in the video. It's crazy. And then whenever she says that people come up to her and said like, I'm scared of you. Who are you? What's going on? She said, what's going on is quantum. That's the sentence she said. And I'm like, what does that even mean?
She's
it must mean something to her.
Well, because she says that she's been studying quantum physics. She wrote an entire book on quantum physics when she was in the facility in Crayon.
Yep. So she's still kind of on that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then she's talking about, she's like, I'm a country girl. I like Pabst Blue Ribbon. I like shooting guns. I like camping. I would be perfect for Brad Pitt.
Oh my God.
Also, it's really interesting, and I hate this phrase, but I'm going to use it. Like, it's very like pick me energy, simultaneously talking about being like an alpha female and then being like, I like things that boys like. I'm not like other girls. She does a lot of like dissing other women during this.
Yeah.
How like other women are, she doesn't say the word cringy, but like she experiences other women as being cringy, and she thinks that women just need to relax.
She's had a falling out with her female friends. They are some of the people that called to have her 5150'd. And the rumors are on her Instagram, she went on a trip to Charleston with some girlfriends. And it seems like she made out with the husband of one of the female friends.
That's right.
And so,
yeah, not a good move.
No. She's also
a little delusional to think that your friendship would last through that.
Yes. She's also posted like 20 stories in the last day. Yeah. And one of them she posted, it was a picture of her with a man, and it says, man, oh man, it's so good to be with my friends. I have no idea what life even means without great friends. I'm pretty sure the secret to happy life is good people and good food, and this one is both. Thank you for your kindness, the protection, and just being honest. I just found out someone I loved has been lying to me. And while I never get mad, I just say, yep, knew it, trust your instincts, and then don't get stuck in a moment. And then she tags this guy, and the guy that she's tagging is the one that she's saying is thank you for the kindness, the protection, and just being honest. That's the guy that she's tagging. And so Reddit went and found this guy, and he is currently homeless in Utah. And he got out of rehab in January, and he had like gotten a 30-day coin and then never posted about sobriety again. And it doesn't seem like it the way that he's posted would not be indicative of someone who is currently still on that sobriety journey and has now been homeless in Utah for like 4 months. That is who she's posting with in a bar that she's found to protect her and be kind to her and be honest with her.
Yikes.
Yeah.
She also posted this 5 hours ago. Still alive, then 2 days later at this cabin, Sundance Mountain Resort, Sunstone Cabin, pulled from the hot tub by 8 deputies from Utah County for an involuntary hold. So weird, huh? Or does it just not make any sense? Let's see. 2 eagles. What does that mean? Is she referring to a different involuntary hold, or was she brought in again?
She was put on 2 in total.
Not one this week, though.
No.
Okay. So she must be referring to. And then she said, I'd make a great president of something, don't you think? And it's a picture of her in front of an American flag, like delusions of grandeur for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, is it this guy or is it the other guy that you're talking about?
No, it's here, I'll show you. You can't hardly see him because the words are, it's this one right here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She posted with another guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's
All over the place.
all over the place, like all over the place.
And then she has a picture of her dad and she's like, I haven't seen them in months and it breaks my heart. But just the other day, she said that she was just with her mom and dad. It's like you have no idea what's really going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she's talking about how she doesn't drink and stuff. And then she's like drinking wine. And you're like, what?
And she's got this one where she's like, I'm a coach and a consultant with a degree in clinical psychology. However, I've done it for 20 years. So that kind of makes me an expert, idiots.
Yeah.
It's not good.
She's posting a lot about Brad Pitt being a great father and stuff and how people lie about him and it breaks her heart.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Yeah, so we now know that Denise Richards is coming back to the Real Housewives. So we're going to deep dive that and the divorce. I have some thoughts about Darvo and like domestic violence and how Erin is like trying to make her seem crazy when she's the victim. So I made a TikTok about it and I want to get into it on our next step.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, that is it for today. Thank you for listening to Confessionals and Congressionals. Please like, rate, subscribe, comment, follow us on social. Come find us. Come say hi. We would love to hear what you think.
All right, guys. Until then, we'll talk to you later.